Hi, parents. If your child struggles with a lot of chronic health challenges, it could be sleep, it could be digestive, it could be immune, and it could be even spilling over to behavior and emotional anxiety challenges. You might have tried everything, maybe medication, you've done the lifestyle changes, but really nothing's getting to the root cause. I want to make this video for you. Now, I'm a pediatric chiropractor, and what we do in pediatric chiropractic is we look at it through the nervous system. Now, the nervous system is how the brain and body communicate. And so, when you got a lot of big challenges from multiple different angles, a lot of times you've got to look back and say, okay, what is the brain telling the body and what is the body telling the brain? Now, how this often spills over is into behavior. And this was so true with this kiddo named Ian. Now, Ian was an elementary school age kid who struggled with sleep. He struggled with digestive issues. But when he got to fifth grade, it all started to carry over into his behavior and emotions at school. Big meltdowns and getting into trouble and all those things to where mom was getting the emails from school. But the key with this is that they had tried everything with star charts and behavior modification. She tried earlier bedtime. She cleaned up his diet. She did so much good and was left with just saying, okay, how do I help Ian? Now, when Ian found chiropractic, it was clear that his brain and body were not communicating properly. A series of neurological scans allowed mom to see where the dysregulation was. Here's the thing with nervous system dysregulation. It doesn't always show up as one thing. It oftentimes it's when there's multiple body systems and processes that all aren't working together easily. That creates the overwhelm. Reason for this is because the nervous system is really controlled by two main angles. The sympathetic side, which is the go, go, go stress protection response, that raging bull, just get after it response. And then there's the parasympathetic side, the rest, relax, digest, chill out mode. Now, we need both of those to be really powerful when they need to be. But most kiddos that struggle with nervous system dysregulation, their sympathetic side, that go, go, go side, it just can't turn off. And it can't turn off in the right moments. And this is what was happening to Ian. So unlike a lot of the more, diagnosable processes where, you go into the medical field and you look at it and you say, okay, well, this can be diagnosed as this and this can be diagnosed as that. Nervous system dysregulation, it really overwhelms everything. The input going into the brain, and that causes multiple systems to struggle. So sleep, digestion, immune, behavioral, kind of all of the above for kids. So it's really hard to pinpoint. So where does this come from and where does this start? Well, often we see it all start all the way even before birth or into the delivery process with the stress of that. If there's any sort of birth trauma, difficult delivery, or where we're having to use a vacuum, forceps, assistance, and maybe babies struggled that first month of life. They struggled with sleep, they struggled with digestion, they didn't master that eat sleep poop that they needed to before 4 months old, and that motor system, that latch, all those things they struggled with. That oftentimes is the root cause and the start of nervous system dysregulation, because it alters the communication to the brain at such a young age that then kiddos continue to build off of that in life, and sometimes it doesn't really even hit the struggle bus until they hit those early elementary school grades. Now, some of you might be struggling with this a lot earlier, and that's oftentimes when multiple systems and multiple struggles come into play. For Ian, it really didn't start affecting him until he was, into the behavioral side of things, even though he had a lot of signs and symptoms leading up to that. Now, a lot of times the symptoms can either be physical, they can either be emotional, they can be neuroimmune, like I talked about. It's really a wide variety of things because it all involves looking at what the body is telling the brain. The brain works by really communicating. We call it, bottom up, back forward. So whenever it receives input from the body, it gets filtered. It gets filtered through the vagus nerve, through the cerebellum, and into the mid parts of the brain, and then to the front part of it. So when the filtering process gets overwhelmed with a lot of signals that are saying, hey, I've got to be high energy. Hey, my autonomic system, my digestive system, and those aren't working really well, the brain gets very overwhelmed and it leads to dysregulation. Now, in our office, we measure this. We use the insight scans and they tell us, okay, what is the input that's coming in from the neuromuscular side and their motor and their movements? What's coming in from the smooth muscle side or the inflammatory side that deals with the gut, digestion, immune? all of those different things to really quantify and measure where kids are at, and then telling us, okay, what does this input look like? And can that be the cause of the dysregulation? That's when we apply, neurologically focused chiropractic care to help their body to start to get that momentum, to start to balance, to calm, and that starts to work those things together. And the word we use for that is neuroplasticity. Nerves that fire together, they wire together. So when a kiddo like Ian wasn't sleeping, wasn't digesting well, it was affecting the behavior. His body, really started to sleep. It started to digest. It started to do things easier when he started chiropractic care. And then the brain picks up on that and says, hey, I like that. I'm going to amplify these neural connections. And that's when neuroplasticity takes shape. So what did he have to say after a few months of chiropractic care? It was really cool because mom wasn't scared of getting those emails home from school anymore. In fact, the teacher actually came and told her and said, hey, I don't know what you've been doing, but whatever you're doing, it's working. He's clearly able, to just behave a little bit better, sit a little bit stiller, finish the work on time. He just doesn't seem as dysregulated. And that's really where it gets back to that nervous system dysregulation. So if your child is struggling with any of the above, or maybe it's a lot of the above, and you just can't get to the bottom of it, we would love to look at scans. We would love to see really what is going on with their nervous system, right? And we would love to look deeper into how it can be dysregulated and how it might be dysregulated, because that can be the answer for so many kids. The scans allowed mom to see exactly where that dysregulation was.